Hey, welcome back. My name is Moody. I was the director for the short film Park, and welcome to Action. My process for working with the actors was different for this one. Usually you want to work with them beforehand to make sure they're comfortable. This time, outside of a few phone calls and me sending them my directorial breakdowns, rehearsals sort of kind of happen on set, which isn't always best, but you got to work with the time you have. So while the crew was setting up, we were just going through the notes, going through the beats, making sure they understand, making sure they were comfortable, and to understand that yes, you're saying this, but it means this, and I want you to say that thing instead of the surface thing. So that was sort of the pre-production process or rehearsal process with the actors.
Probably the biggest thing I had to keep in mind when working with actors was blocking, because they were going from spot to spot all the time, and I was really having to keep in mind their point A to point B, and sometimes even point C. So that was the biggest thing from the beginning of the day that I realized I was missing some of my points. I needed to understand exactly how they needed to move from one point to the next, especially when like she's running at the beginning and then meets up with her at the bench. Some of that took a little bit of choreography, and then by the end of it, it actually ended up being pretty decent. But yeah, that was the biggest thing I had to keep in mind, was the movement of the characters from one position in the scene to the next one.
Did we deviate from the script? No. Since I didn't write this one, I really wanted to stay with what the writer had put down. I think that just was out of respect to the writer. If I wrote it myself, then I wouldn't care. Hey, that sounds better. Let's do that. But I think my job this time as director was, if I said I wanted to direct this, the writer wrote it down, my job's now to make it work, because it obviously worked enough for me to want to do it.
So something that a lot of people love to talk about whenever they talk filmmaking is gear. I mean, heck, it's fun, all right? So one of my favorite pieces of gear that we had on the project was, of course, the camera. Surprise. It was the Sony FS100. Fantastic little cinema camera. I was able to pull a lot of color out when editing because it had a lot of detail within the image itself. And then we shot using mostly the Yashica 50mm prime that I have. It's a f1.7 aperture, so you get a really shallow depth of field. But we were not able to get that for this project because, well, we'll get into it later, but I didn't have ND filters at the time. That has since been remedied. But yeah, so the camera setup was really solid. At one point we did use my Yashica 135mm. That's an f2.8 lens, fantastic lens. And we'll get more into that, I'm sure in the future of Premiere Prep and everything. But so that was it on the camera side. Of course, we had a shoulder rig, the newer one that I reviewed back in this episode. It was absolutely fantastic on the day. It was really a good shoulder rig. And then I also had a good standard Liebeck tripod. Now on the audio side, that's where we had some fun. We had the Rode NTG2 microphone, and that is a fantastic microphone. It really is good. I really enjoyed working with it. And then to record, we used the Zoom H4n, which has been very heavily used across everybody within the film industry. It's a really fantastic audio recorder. So that mostly covered all the gear that we used. We used, different reflectors and things like that, even poster board from Dollar General that was bought, 20 minutes before filming. So we could get more into that, but that was the majority of the gear that was used on Park.
Directing something that somebody else wrote is actually a lot of fun, because you get to focus more on, you don't have to stress on writing it, so you can go straight to the creative process of forming it and how you want to see it and how you want it to be. It definitely was a challenge. I'd like to do it again next time. I always say pre-production. I want to give it that respect furthermore for sure. But it was a challenge, and the one I would love to take on again.
To stay more up to date on what's going on with Film World, make sure that you subscribe. That is the best way to get the most up-to-date information. Also follow on the Film World Instagram, the Film World Twitter. All the links are in the description, and the best little hub is going to be the Film World website, filmworldchannel.com. That really wraps it up, guys. For me, Micah Pendleton, and the rest of the Film World crew, and then
Moody.
Remember to live your life one frame at a time, and we will catch you next time.